Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30. It is Wednesday, October 8th, and I had to say we got a pretty strong market on our hands. A lot stronger than I thought. We started off this morning thinking flat out range bound trading. We were thinking we were in pretty much stage two after this pullback we had on yesterday's trading. Overnight looked reasonable. The 67.75, they weren't able to take it out, but look at it, the open. They just blew through that thing. Trade is slowly grinding higher, and they've been up here now flirting with the high. They kind of ran out of gas here at the high, so this is like 2, 3. This is the fourth time up here, but look at how much volume they're building at this upper edge. So I'm just thinking that we may see them bust through this to the upside. And fourth time to the level, I would just be cautious trying to get short against this one right now. In the beginning, early on today, definitely try a short trade, or if you try a short trade, that was the right thing to do. At this point, late in the session, I would not be super aggressive about it. I'm thinking, I don't necessarily hop on the long side by the high either, so I'm just going to watch it and see if it starts trending higher and with a little bit of conviction, stay on the long side of it. If you get an opportunity to buy weakness, look to buy against the that ledge at the 90s, 67, 90s, at the 85s, rotations back up. The trade below 85s, I can see them retrace right back down here again. So those two levels are what I would pay attention to. I'm going to adjust those for tomorrow. So far, this I had one trade on the ES this morning. That was early on here, and that was early on here when they had this very first retest. I got short fairly aggressively, but this is basically trading the analysis. So that was up here when the B period was trading up here against the 75s. So I got short right there, had a nice little trade, got out at the mean, between the mean and the mode. So a pretty quick trade, 27 bucks on that one, and then I did not re-engage it after that. After it started taking this higher, kind of watching it. I pointed out this retest failure trade here later on in the day at 67.90s. I opted not to take that one. It took a little bit higher than I wanted it to do for me to want to step in front of it. But that turned out to be actually a working trade. So yeah, just if you got in early on that one, you just had to fade a little bit more heat. And since then, it has been holding on to the gains. They traded up here and they've been going sideways, just kind of not going anywhere, just drifting back and forth. So you're getting short up this upper area, 6,800 for, and down here to this, and it's like 5, 6 points. I would not be super aggressive on that short trade after they start building value like that. I would prefer to buy the pullbacks if anything. But when it is like this, you just had to be a little bit cautious about it. It's easy enough to get caught in twisting in the wind when the market is not that's not really driving it. It's just kind of going sideways. And there hasn't been any updates on the shutdown or anything like that. So I would stay on the long side to get started. Primarily range bound, but stay on the long side. Look for that early strength and see if they can take out the highs. If you get some weakness, look to buy against that 67.90 and the 85s for rotations up. Below 85s, take off that long bias and just go back range bound, and we're backing off that upper edge. So that's how I would approach it right now. You can see here it's how much volume they have on the bid-ask chart here, right here at the 6,800. They are definitely defending that level hard. So that's every day. But then you see as it backs off, you have a lot of buying just below it. So net buying, and then you run into a ceiling. That's pretty interesting. So once they bust that ceiling, we could see a nice move to the upside. So one trade, 27 bucks on that guy so far. Looking at the Nasdaq and the bonds, bond market is kind of staying where it's at, range bound. That's going sideways. I missed that nice BC failure trade. If I split this guy, I'll show you. This early on this morning was a nice. It's happened right at the open here, right? Uh, they ran it down to support, then fails, are trading back up again. Beautiful trade there, worth a few ticks for sure. Say third time to that level, not so much. They actually bounced one more time, but as they started running down here again, they actually took out that level. But that's you had to pay attention. It happens fairly quick, and if you don't pay attention, you just miss it. But we'll start off range bound on the bonds right now, not go pretty much sell up to the 117.12s, buy down here to the 1620s, pretty much leave it at that. Nasdaq though, look at Nasdaq making new highs. They have taken out resistance. They are driving us higher. So that's another reason to potentially look for ES to bust through it. Nasdaq is doing it. They're taking out the highs after that big pullback yesterday. They definitely, oops, they did that after the big pullback yesterday. They actually got up above this area, the 50, 25, 120s, and have been holding up above that. So let me see one capital flow on the NASDAQ. There it is. So you see, taking out resistance, we're in price discovery territory. I would look to buy weakness on the NASDAQ and stay on the long side of that guy. I think the ledge to put the watch is obviously the 250 ledge. If that comes out, the next level down would be that single print. It's not the single print, but you see how little volume have right there at the 225. Could be an area to pay attention to, and then of course that triple ledge here at the 170s. So if they go below that 170 edge, I would just take off the long bias. So far, there's one trade on the NASDAQ. They was a little bit volatile in the morning. I tried one trade, and that was also a reasonably aggressive failure trade. That was at that retest failure early on. Got short, had a nice break-even trade, then they just knocked me out of that thing. No, it wasn't actually break-even. I moved my stop more aggressively on that one, and then they just knocked me out, and then they started going. So, given this move, probably a good call to do it that way. After that, they've pretty much been going just grinding to the upside. Kind of difficult to trade Nasdaq today, so I opted not to. If trade it, if anything, trade it from the long side. And look at that. Here's the 2 o'clock hour. The Fed minutes came out, I believe, because the market reacted there. I think it came out, the Fed minutes. Yeah, 2 o'clock. I believe something was released there, and I think it does raise because there was a big reaction there for a second, and then after that they just kept grinding to the upside, and we are making new highs, guys. So one trade there for 50, and then finally oil and gold. I took one trade on gold as well. Try the same trade as yesterday, and when they start taking out that low at the London low, I got aggressive on that on the first pullback on it. Showed you that last time around. And that was right here after. This is the first bar running these stops in B period. And that first retracement gets short, and then see if they can extend to the downside. They did not. I had a nice trade going there for a bit, and then they came up and knocked me out of that trade. After they knocked me out, they actually took it lower again. I thought for a second I was going to miss it, but then they just retraced right back up again. So that's the difficulties. You don't want to chase it. That's the immediate reaction after you get knocked out like that. You try to re-engage it again, and you have to just take a step back, and that happens. Chasing it usually gets you in a shitty spot. That usually happens. But anyway, so at this point, staying long on gold, range bound, bias to the upside, looking to buy against that 40,050s, maybe down here at the 47s. If this starts trading below this area in the overnight, it could be a nice short trade setting up again for a retracement. But that doesn't look like they're ready quite yet to retrace. And then oil, they're slowly grinding back up toward the 63, but it's a slow grind. They're still, as long as you hold that 62 level, I'm going to stay on the long side on oil. So looking to buy against that 62.30s and the 62 for rotations back up. I'll probably skip that 62.30s and just watch that 62 level and see if they can hold that, stay on the long side, otherwise go back range bound. All right, so that's oil and gold. Back to the ES. And there we kind of where we left it. So let's see how this whole thing shakes out going into tomorrow. But I'll see you back bright and early again tomorrow. So far, just the one trade the ES, one trade NASDAQ, one trade gold. That's pretty much what I had going today. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. I'll see you back in the morning. Later.